Good day. We are the Group 3. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardenes, to use this as an educational material. So to start, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Engine Cadet Roma Clark Matthew, together with my members, Engine Cadet Keith Ortega, Engine Cadet John Camilo, Engine Cadet Isare ESCUADRO, Engine Cadet PACIFICO JETHRO, Engine Cadet William Butantan, and Engine Cadet Joseph MADAITON. So I would like to call Engine Cadet Kit to continue.
So the first presenter is Engine Cadet Vergara.
So, thank you, Engine Cadet Ortega. I'm Engine Cadet Vergara. So, before we start, this is our objectives of our discussion. To be able to know the history and stages of global media and culture. Next is to be able to know the various media drive various forms of global integration and the dynamic between local and global cultural production. And next is to be able to know the role of media in globalization, to be able to know the pros and cons of media globalization, to be able to know the globalization without media, and lastly is to be able to know the media globalization, a form of cultural imperialism. So next is, what is media? Before we start, may may I explain the media? Media are the communication outlets or tool used to store and deliver information. So in general, media refers to a various means of communication using paper, using technology. Smartphones is and television, radio is one example of media. So there are two types of media: the traditional or old media and new media. So first, what is traditional media or old media? Traditional or old media includes the print media such as books, newspaper, magazines, newsletters, scholarship journals, and pamphlets, flyers, broadsides, billboards, and etc. So, so old media is all about papers and papers, journals, newsletters, and for the new media, it means of mass communication using digital technology such as internet. One example of this is telephone, computer, social media, and mobile phones. So for for the for the example of newspaper, it gives information and opinion about current events. And for the internet is an essence as a network system of interconnected computer system globally that is available to everyone. And it is came from new media as a television for transmitting visual images and sounds that are reproduced on screens. This is used to broadcast and to tell the news. And next is the history and the stages of revolution of the global media cultures. So first is the pre-industrial and industrial, so electronic and digital. So first is the pre-industrial age. So from the pre-industrial age, processing language was one of the first thing they developed and enhanced. So the human in the pre-industrial age was to enhance the processing of language, consider the tradition are basics of the ancestors' information communication flow. So it came from the old age. So one example of this is the Chabyov cave of paintings discovered in southern France. So one example of this is the cave painting as you can see in the picture. So another example of this pre-industrial pre-industrial age is the tab stone tablet from the, or also called the Code of Mahurabi. Is the clay and stone tablets were found to the some form of symbolic impression that make a ancient language. So that is an ancient language. So one example of pre-industrial age is the ancient language, and another example is the Egyptian advent of paper. So with the discovery of papyrus by an ancient Egyptian and other form of writing tools, this is eventually lead to an advent of paper. So one example of that is in the picture. This is the new invention of Egyptian into other parts of the world, making the recording and documenting of human lives even more extensive and profound. So the documents are also, this are the evidence of the pre-industrial and the examples of pre-industrial age for the history of some global media culture. And next is the industrial age. The world was ushered into the industrial age. The harnessing of electricity for daily use was also characteristic of this day of this stage. A sound technological invention developed various electricity-related experimentation. So, industrial industrial age was an example. One example of industrial age is using electricity to communicate, to give an information. So, first example of this is image and recording. The example of industrial age is image recording, and the invention of photography also began during this era. So, as you can see in the picture, the image in a flat proper place, a plate sheet. This you can see pictures, the type capturing wide and one photo per shot. Went popular in 1970. So this is the first camera used in industrial age. So it is invented by, I don't know. So next is the develop of newspaper will soon to be developed, allowing the citizen to the news information that benefited sector of their life. So they use newspaper to gather information or to give information to the citizens or to the to the people. And next is the telegraph. This is one of the example of industrial age. One example of industrial industrial technology. So it is invented in 1944, wires and cables. So this is use of wires, cables as the sender encoded information and the receiver encoded into other end. So next is the electronic age. Overlap in the industrial age and the electronic age happen when human being realize the importance and relevance of information as a commodity. So in the electronic age, the human realized that what is the importance or and relevance of information. The broadcast industry, particular expansion of radios, and televisions, as you can see in the picture. So radios and television, it first appeared in 1950 and 1960. It's became their culture or their habit, the listening in the radio and watching television. So it became a culture. So next is the portable gadget like Sony Walkman and Sony Discman. This is uh, a disc that is, or an MP3 that you can put a music. And next is the development of fax machine and cell phone to a good communication. So lastly is the digital age, refers to a current age wherein information is still seen as a commodity, yet its mode of recording, storage, and delivery and playback relies heavily on digital technology. So this is the present time. Example of this is Apple fame and smartphones. Windows were introducing various models and prototypes of hardware and softwares. Digital single lens reflexive camera, also known as this DSLR. So this is one examples. As you can see in the pictures, these are the examples of digital age. So as you can see, there's a smartphone. It's easy to get information, but the disadvantage of this is a lot of fake news in this era. So next, the next to present is Pacifico and ESCUADRO.
So I'm going to report the next slide. So various media are used for globalization to work all over the world. The media components such as television, internet, computers, and etc. are considered to have significant influence on globalization. So which is very important in globalization. Thus, globalization is impossible to occur without media. So without language, it is like without language, we wouldn't be able to communicate. Then which is one of the example is the printing press, which preserve knowledge for future use. Then electronic media allowed opportunities to spread all over the world. Then the best example is the radio and television, which are powerful mass medium in providing accessible information for people. Then the digital media through phone and computers, which allows people to access information from around the world. Then the next to present is Engine Cadet Escuadro. Take it away, Escuadro.
Thank you, Engine Cadet Pacifico. So to continue, so here's the cultural products, which are the goods and services such as arts, architectures, museum, and etc. that showcase the history and information of certain cultures which belong to the country's cultural heritage. So, and while global products are goods and services that provides people products that are cheaper and that can be found in a lot of country. And however, people exposure to foreign products might have a negative effects on local culture products and influence other culture. Uh, with the use of radio and TV as well as the internet, global products can be easily shown to the people, getting people's attention while leaving cultural products unknown and forgotten. So with the use of with too much exposure of people in the social media through the use of technology, gadgets like smartphones, uh, it will getting people attentions, leaving its cultural products and which products unknown, and they will forget the which is their own cultural products. And the next report is Engine Cadet Butantan.
Thank you, Engine Cadet Escuadro. So, the role of media and globalization. Nowadays, mass media plays a key role in extension of globalization process. The media components such as television, internet, computers, etc. are considered to have a paramount influence on globalization. Also because of globalization process today, there is an increased access to a broad range of media. which plays a very important role in shaping human minds and has an immense impact on our societies' personal lives. Thus, these two equally important processes interact with each other and provide mutual assistance in the expansion of the sphere of influence. So media is very important in globalization and also the globalization towards the media because media shapes mind or mold the mind of the people and let you access or use the media to inform a lot of people in a short amount of time. Next, please. Before the press media had come to into pictures, people used to communicate by writing letters and sending them to direct mails. So before the press media, uh, so it means before the press media had come, people before will send letters and emails by sending it through mail. But although they can communicate by that method, it still takes a lot of time, maybe half of the day, or a whole day, or even week. It depends on the distance of the receiver and the sender. The appearance of press media came as an information revolution. This early press media became a source of information, promotion, and projection. It was specialized in diverse sphere and was focused on all the issues concerning daily lives and well-beings. Press educates people about international happenings, entertainment, political, and sports events. After the press, media, radio, and television had been discovered, which led us to a different kind of revolution. Now people could not only read but also hear and see the news. So the role of media in globalization is to make the life of the people easier because the media can make the people communicate to each other faster. Media also can inform people, not just few but a lot of people in just short amount of time. And media also makes the mind of people wider. Media also can spread a lot of information, but also media can also corrupt the mind of the people. For example, in internet, you can share information bad and good. The people can share it without thinking. That is why some people encourage everyone to be smart in using media, especially the internet. But even though it happens, still media is very helpful to everyone. For example, the news, instead of waiting tomorrow for the newspaper to appear, you can now watch the news immediately or even live. And another example of it is hello. And another example of it is radio. The radio is one of the easiest and cheapest media sources. The giant advantage of radio as a part of globalization process is that it can be understood by even illiterate people and can be served to a larger number of people. And that's all. Thank you. And next reporter.
So, thank you, Mr. Butantan. So, to continue, so we're going to explain about the pros and cons about media globalization. So, first is the pros of mass media. So, first is it can keep us connected. So, before mass media, you could live your entire life knowing that about the world outside of your village. Now we are all connected, and this can be a very good thing. For instance, when a tsunami strikes, people all over the world hear about it within a moment and can be mobilized immediately to help. Without mass media, we could have far less ability to understand how we're all connected and how we all need each other. So it can keep us connected. So like for example, uh, for example of this is tsunami, and example for that are the in the Philippines, the Yolanda. Because of this mass media, the help of others, international government or something organization immediately to to help us in the uh, Yolanda victims. So second is it can spur business. So where would business be without advertising and marketing? So to thanks to the business communication made possible by mass media, business can reach potential consumer faster and easier than ever before. So this helps keep our economy going. So like for example, you have a business. Uh, the business is limiting you, like you're going giving some flyers in your community, but thanks to this mass media, you can now post in the internet or advertise it to the radio or to the news or some like in the ABS or GMA. So next please. Next slide please. So third is it can spread arts and culture. So on the internet, you can see all of the world's artistic masterpiece or learn about the particularities of a culture for remove from your own. So in addition, numerous TV and radio programs are devote themselves to exploring the world, offering us the chance to discover new things and new ideas and enlighten ourselves in the process. So example for this are the about the spread arts and culture. Example for this are the Discovery Channel and the Nat Geo or the YouTube. You can see the masterpiece of other uh, other arts like the Mona Lisa. You can easily check and read about what that masterpiece or what that art means. So next is it can give you a voice to the voiceless. So from reporters bringing us stories of people in difficult situation to social media, allowing one person thought to go viral and spread across the world. So mass media can lift up an individual voice that would otherwise have gone unheard. Like for example, uh, it can give the voiceless. Like example, like the in the Igorots or something in our province, uh, it calls us a mamanwa, like they need help, something. The media help them to discover something about themselves, what their culture we can learn and they can share, and others about the like that not celebrity but they can access the media to share their thoughts and talents. So next please. So the next reporter is Engine Cadet SACOL.
Thank you, Engine Cadet Kate Ortega. I'm Engine Cadet Sakol will report about the cons of mass media. First, that it can empower the already powerful, while mass media can create opportunities for anyone to share their story. The vast majority of our mass media is bought, and because it's bought, those with money can deeply influence what we see and hear. This gives the rich and those connected to the rich a far louder voice than the rest of us at its best. This is unfair and it's worse, and it's a way for tiny minority to seize power over the vast majority. Um, this means that, like example, the rich make more richer, like same as the owner of the softwares, like Bill Gates. Mark Zuckerberg, the rich will invest for this and the mass media, and they make the managers and owners and will make more than rich years, and the workers and the other natures will be hell of them. And the next is it can be used for disinformation and hate. How do you know that your seeing or hearing from mass media is true? While some sources of information are far more trustworthy than others, mass media as whole is vulnerable to propaganda and its lies. Totalitarian regimes have used mass media for nearly a century to control what their people believe. With the rise of the internet, even those in democracies can be easily exposed to media designated to drive us to hate or believe in lies. Example of this, like in Philippines, political parties. Some of the media user may make fake news about other political parties, so they make and find false info about them, so they can more advantage from the other parties. Next is the it can homogenize culture. So before mass media, and art and culture were more localized. So they reflected diversity in how people spoke, dressed, and entertained themselves. Now, the entire world often sees and hears the same cultural influences. While diversity still clearly exists, there is the risk that mass media might reduce cultural variety, leaving us with the less art and fewer inspiration. So it means that our culture has been perished because of the mass media. Like, natabuna, like the other artists and the artists of what they made kay marag kanang the other people will not be inspired of how they make this art. They are just they will know just more less information about how they make the art and how this culture been made in the past few years. Next is it can overtake personal connections. We've all seen it or been a part of it. Or go out to dinner where everyone spends much of the evenings staring at their phones or gazing at TV in the corner. As much as media can connect us with people all over the world, it can disconnect us from the people right in front of us. So these are just a common because of the mass media. Like sa mga millennials nowadays, because of mass media, we can spend more enough time to our family or the importance of being together because of the people are more focused on their phones, just like eating dinner from like eating dinner, most of us will take picture first before we eat. Then they forget to give bless on the food, and somehow our personal lives get affected because of the false and lies we've seen in media, and other people will reflect it in their personal lives. That would be all, Chong. Thank you. Next reporter will be Engine Cadet Roma.
Thank you, Engine Cadet Sakol. So, is there globalization without media? Globalization is generally a process that we experience every day. According to the professor Terhiran Tanin, practically there is no globalization without media. Media globalization has aided in both the production and distribution of information. Yet this relationship is so obvious it is often overlooked. Tantanin challenges conventional ways of thinking about globalization and shows it cannot be understood without studying the role of media. Next. The media industry, in many ways, perfect for globalization or the spread of global trade without regard for traditional political borders. As discussed earlier, the low marginal cost of media mean that reaching a wider material creates much larger profit margins for media companies. Excuse me. Because information is not a physical good, shipping costs are generally inconsequential. Finally, the global reach of media allows it to be relevant in many different countries. However, some have argued that media is actually a partial cause of globalization rather than just another globalized industry. Media is a largely a cultural product, and transfer of such a product is likely to have an influence on the recipient's culture. Increasingly, technology has also been propelling globalization. Technology allows for quick communication, fast and coordinated transport, and efficient mass marketing, all of which have allowed globalization, especially globalized media, to take hold. So this is my report. I would like to call the next reporter, Agent Cadet MADAITON.
Thank you, Engineer Socio. Globalization is therefore a tool of cultural imperialism, according to Tomlinson 2001. So, as technology develops, technology made it possible to make a worldwide movement toward economic, financial, trade, and communication integration, which is called globalization. However, it turns out globalization paradigm had its own had its flaws, and these flaws are described as cultural imperialism. So, but by the way, so what is imperialism? So, imperialism is a policy of extending a country's power and influence through diplomacy or military force. So nowadays, our generation tend to connect each other through countries, from countries through to another countries because of technology. By one click or touch of the screen, we can connect to each other through social media, and there is trading happening in the technology. So that's why there is globalization is happening. So thank you.
So that's all for our report about the global media culture. So thank you for listening.